All right, YouTubers, let's go for a train ride today. I'm in Derail Valley pre-simulator. This is 2023 May. It's called Overhaul still. I know they're planning on upgrading it. This one's build 92 off of Steam. And I'm picking up some jobs. I'm pretty far in the game here, so I've got two big diesels that I'm going to pull. I'm looking for multiple jobs to deliver here. I'm going to do a freight haul. I'm not going to do any of the shunting or any load hauls or anything else like that. So I'm just going to give you some gameplay here. It's a kind of nice game. It's a train game. It's like all train games, but it's a little bit neater. They're getting better and better at the graphics and stuff on this one. It's been upgraded. And like I said, there's probably a big one coming this year called Simulation, which will be just hopefully a build on this one. So as I'm going through these job cards here in the harbor in town, I'm kind of thinking about my load. Probably going to go up to either the machine town, or I'm looking for the machine town. I'm done with the loads here. So let's take a look. Yeah, City Southwest is on the way to machine town, so I might take those jobs. There's machine factory in town. Got a $47,000 job and a $25,000 job. There's the 47. Let's take that one. Let's take the 25. And then let's take the two City Southwests. And let's go find those jobs. That's what we're going to do right now. Looking straight ahead, there's my trains. They are the big diesels that you have to buy a license to get these, but let me go ahead and show you how to start one of these up. You open up this door, flip the three breakers, flip that up, you get the green light, then you got to run outside here. Just looking around, I got fuel in this one. I think I reset my fees, so let's go ahead and crank this button here. That starts it up. You can hear it fire it up. So I got one of the two. I've got a multi-unit tied together here. Let me pull up my remote, sync my remote with this locomotive. Turn off my train brake. Independent brakes off. No throttle. Put myself in the position, a forward position. Now I did this before. Let's see, that's in the E section. I found this one before. I did a little scouting before this one, but let's go ahead and go through the scouting again. You should scout before you start the timer on this one. So that's not it. This is a lot of them, but this is FH35, so this should be one of my 4 jobs. This isn't going to be this job. That's 64. Let me just pull up the other jobs. I don't know where that one is. Let me rearrange these down in the tabs down here so they're all together. My quick tabs, right? All right, so there I got all my jobs. Quick tab, 64, is that one of my? So 9, 85, 45, 35, so that's not one of them. So what am I looking for here? Dang it. I'm going to pull 4 concurrent jobs. 35 was one of my jobs. That's going City Southwest, so I want to put that near the rear of my train. What else am I looking at? There's some more tankers over there. Pull that one up. That's another City Southwest. Let's see. Yellow, white, white. Okay. Good. That's probably 45. I can go over and verify it. Do that. I mean, you always want to be sure. They don't always look the same. But yep, there's 45. So that's City Southwest. Right next to it over here, that's 4 cars. So definitely not the white one. I don't think that's the white one either. Might be. That would be something if all of them are here, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that one's that one. So that's going to the machine. That's worth 25,000. So not chicken feed on that one. So where's this other job? Where is? It's going to take me about 20 minutes to put all these trains together, right, before we drive. So stick with me. A lot of dead space here. See what this job is. 92. That's not it. All right, so definitely it's not in the E yard, but 3 of the 4 are in the E yard. My guess is G or D. Could be in C, but let me just go down here. And let's go to the G yard. Nope, boxes, and that's not that style. I don't see anything here. Let's go to the D area. Nope, nope. Okay. Odds are this is it. Yeah, 85. So that's going to the machine factory. So that's one of the first two that I want to put on, the 2 machine factories, and I'll put the city and town in the back. So I should move my engines over to come pick up this one, check out the job. That job is not the most expensive job. The most expensive job is, well, it's pretty expensive, 47, but there's a 49,000 going to city. The reason why I'm doing this is because I've got limited time for my bonus. So let's get my remote out here, put it in reverse. I didn't check all the weights yet on this one. One of these engines is good for 1,400 tons, but you can't carry 1,400 tons uphill, and I'm going to be going uphill coming out of the harbor here, so 2 engines will do it, no problem. So hopefully this train isn't too heavy. It's not steel. Usually the steel mill's kind of heavy. Get out my switcher. This is how you switch tracks. You pull out the switcher, or the comm radio. The comm radio can also re-rail cars and do other stuff, but for now we're going to do switching. These big diesels take a little bit of throttle to get them moving. Different than the shunters. The shunters react pretty quickly, and the shunters will wheel spin. These don't wheel spin a whole lot. You got to have a pretty heavy load going uphill. Let's see, this guy's going the right way, going to the right up here. And then to the left. I can get the map out, but the map, whatever. I haven't started a clock on anything here, so I'd just be wasting video time. Oh, I think I went down the wrong one. Yep, that's, oopsie. Brake, brake. Turn up the independent brake. Doesn't make sense to have a train brake here. Put it in reverse. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back up a little bit here. With these, the big diesels, like 1 bar is like 11, 12 kilometers per hour. 2 bars is 22, 23, 24. But you got to give it a little throttle to get accelerating. That's just kind of a rule of thumb for the eventual speed of that train. If you let it go long enough, the more throttle, the quicker it accelerates, right? And I want to be, for purposes of this video, I want to be accelerating around, try to get this as quickly as possible. I, of course, have the remote control. That's a handy dandy. You pick that up in the shop at the machine town. I also have the stopwatch from the harbor here if you find the shop. It's a blue building. It's a blue star on the map. You pay 25 grand for this remote control. Helps you with coupling. Helps you because it's got a digital throttle indicator. Not that you can't do it by sound in the vehicle, but allows you to run around like this. Super handy. You're going to get that pretty quickly in this game. It's only $25,000, and it works on the 2 diesels, not the steam, but the 2 diesels. You can also couple. That's the big one here. So you can see with LED displays where you are. Turn my brake. I'm going a little fast here. You get an exact speedometer too, right? As opposed to having to check stuff. I tend to sit on top of these, even if it's a little noisier. You could operate it from anywhere within, I forget how many meters, 600 meters. Probably by the time I get to the back of these 4 trains put together, it won't be won't be able to get to the back of the train. So there you go. You hit the couple button. You just use the Alt key on this. Let me go put it in reverse. Let me go run. I'll go dump this job off. Now I'm probably not very hopeful that I'll get a bonus on this job, which is a shame. I might have done the other one first, but then you got to go back and forth, and it's a shame because it's a $47,000 job. Let me reset this. You can either set it to the time or just reset. If you set it to the time, it'll count down, but that might be a better method. You can hear my train is still running in the background out there, so I got to keep an eye on its speed. It might be speeding up too much. So let me start this. It'll start my clock. I got 52 minutes to make it all the way Machine Factory, but my drop off at the City Southwest is going to get me. So there we are, D0. We're good to go, right? So we run out here. See how my locomotive's doing. It wasn't going. I didn't set it too far. You can see I put 2, but it's taking forever to get up to speed. So take a look at weight of these trains in a bit. Once I get 4 of these, it's going to be a pretty heavy load. Not too much of a challenge with these 2 big diesels. It won't be a big a deal. But you do have to get the trains moving to rather rapidly to make time. You know, let me go ahead and I'm going to go down to that 4. That 4 was all the way on the left. So just get see if I get that last one zoomed in. There you go. So I'm going to pick up that one. That is my other machine town. Now you know where the jobs you're picking up here, but you don't know until you turn them in where they're going. I mean, they're going to an inbound line somewhere at the destination because these are on outbound lines right now. When you do shunting, they'll be on the spare lines or parking lines or shunting lines or various places. A lot of times you got to break the trains up. So I'm doing pretty good here, 36 kilometers. If I say miles per hour, I appreciate that. Let's see, this other guy is going to Harbor Freight. Yep, I'm just checking it. Get a little brake going here. Probably need a lot of brake. It's not quite as heavy. Like I said, once I get 4 of these, it's going to be super heavy. So yeah, the idea is that maybe I'll make, I didn't want to put power on, sorry. There we go, put it forward. Power it up, slow it down. Could have used a little more brake. At least to get to 0, and then it's going to start to come backwards. Probably need a little more power. Let me run ahead. You can see the signal at the bottom of the remote is decrementing rather quickly. So even getting this far away, I'm getting the statics now. It'll come back in range. I know it's going the right way here. I'm going to pick up these 4. And let's see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to pick up, that's a 35,000. That's the big one. 440 tons for that one, 308 for that one. So 700 going to City Southwest. That would be a load in itself for one train trying to go uphill. Keeping speed. Just keep an eye on this. This is something I get enthralled with I'm not even close yet, so. But I'll take my time. Like I said, that white job, the first one I picked up from the D zone that's going to the machine, it'd be very unlikely I'm going to make that time limit. I think it's 52 minutes. Usually you try to make 1. If you make 2 or you can make the second city, that's pretty good. But you got to be on it. You got to not make mistakes, and you really got to get on the throttle, maybe a little bit more than I'm doing here. Of course, any mistakes, any derailments, you're gonna not make it. Let me put some brake on. I like to set this bar to 1, so it's always got some positive going to it. With these throttles, I mean, like the shunters are much more reactive, right? But this guy here, not great for shunting. Of course, we're not doing shunting, but we're doing shunting-like work. You're connecting segments of trains. Let me couple it. Put myself turn the throttle down, put it in reverse. Get this guy moving. I can probably hook up this one and the next one and then go drop those 2 jobs off. I mean, you might be able to hook up all 3. What you want to do is not take the um, the train too far away because it'll tell you the job moved, and then you can't do the job. Of course, if you're not worried about the time bonus, um, take as long as you want. But the bonus is worth 50% of the job, and usually pays for the maintenance, right? Or the the fuel, all the stuff you got to do, the fees. A little bit more usually if you're just to take one job. Now I'm going to take 4 jobs right here, so it's going to work out a little bit differently. Hopefully, hopefully. If I derail this, I'll have to delete it. Is what it is, right? So I'm not going. I could go a little faster here if I was really worried about the time, but I'm pretty much giving up on the time on Machine Center, Machine City, Machine Factory City, whatever you call that thing. I'll get the map out in a little bit here. I just want to make sure I'm focusing on these train cars. Now the one was next door, so that's why I'm at the second. Let's go ahead and break that. You can see it's taking a little, brakes are a little finicky on this one. So I did that one, 25,178. So what is that? I'm up to 900 tons with that one. I gotta figure out what the original crate train was. So is that right? No, that's not right. A little different when you're narrating. Yeah, I want to go to the second track. And that is my second cheaper City Southwest. The one I may or may not make a bonus on. I forget how many minutes I got to get to City Southwest. Hopefully it's around a half an hour. It doesn't take long to get from City Southwest up to the machine place. Like about 10 minutes. So there's a chance if I make a City Southwest that you could make one or both. But you got to be on it, like I said. Don't expect to do it with multiple constructs. And then if it's, if they don't line up, I haven't looked at where they line up yet. I mean, if they don't line up on adjacent tracks and you got to run around the yard or you got to do something goofy, then you're going to spend too much time. So let me couple. Now I got those 2 jobs together. Just doing a little video yin yang. There's a couple little bugs here. So let me turn that down, put it in reverse. Again, this is the sync to the second locomotive that's in reverse, right? Probably could have fired up both these things, but let me go turn those 2 jobs in. So that'll start the clock there. Now the clock is still running on the white ones and I haven't moved one bit and it's got to go all the way. But that one there, 52 minutes I got on that one, the shorter one. I may have time on that one. And that one and this one. So there's 3 of the 4 jobs started. And this guy here is $49,000. That's the one I definitely want to get a bonus on. 35, and it is one track off center. There we go. That one right there, I believe. A little more juice here. Although, like I said, I'm really interested in that. This last one I'm going to pick up, turn it in, be on the clock, hopefully get that one dropped off and get a nice, 49 plus 25, roughly $75,000 job. And then everything else after that is just extra hauling and extra gravy. And it's not, like I said, too far between the 2 cities after that. So you're not wasting a lot of time at single, no bonus, right? Pace. Man, I'm still in the whites here. Still in the first construct. You know, it sucks a little bit. These are all colored tankers. If they were flat cars or something, I'd know where the constructs are a lot easier to split them apart. I'm gonna have to do a little job reading when I go split these. I'm certainly not going to count them. I mean, you could count them and write them down, I guess, but we'll wing it here. Put that brake on, and yeah, this is the track I want to go down. So yeah, this shunting, this isn't true shunting. Like I said, sometimes when you do shunting, they wedge the cars in on different ways, and you got to pick up half a car line and dropping them off in different places. But I am picking up 4 constructs. The good thing about outgoing lines, usually only the job is on the outgoing line, and it's it's whole, right? So same thing with the incoming. If it's a drive-through city, you should be able to drive through, right? No problem. It should be empty. When you get to the incoming lines, it should be empty at the town you're going to. So yeah, unfortunately, this just takes a while. I want to show this one real speed. So we're gonna be a good long hour here, but I can talk some other topics because I'm not gonna make too many of these videos. This is wait for the upgrade. It's an interesting uh, game. It's got some challenges to it, particularly if you got to take the shunters out. They're only 400 ton, and they barely haul 200 up some of the steep hills we have here. So plus you got to run back. They would tend to overheat a lot. This one doesn't wheel slip and doesn't heat very much. These big diesels, so much easier to make speed. But you know, any long train has its challenges. I think on the next simulator they're going to do brake heat or something like that, or at least they promised it, or one of these next builds, right? Then it's going to get a little trickier. You know, when we go downhill right now, um, definitely you can just use as much brakes as you want, right? It doesn't really overheat brakes or fade brakes, right? So I'm just going to guide this one in gently. If you went faster, you could make up some time. But, you know, if you hit too hard, you'll cause some damage, right? So probably 1 or 2 of my cars might get some damage along the way. Anyways, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So let me put this in reverse and take the brake off and fire this sucker up. And I got to drop off the last job. Don't forget to drop off your jobs. Like I said, if you leave the port, you can't turn them in anymore. And you're kind of screwed because you're wasted a bunch of time. So this one here, 440 tons. So that puts us in the close to 1,400 ton, or is that right? 400, 100. And we'll do the math again. Should be 900 plus 443, somewhere around. So let's jump in here. Let me fire up 2 engines. We're heavy enough that, plus I'm going to be going uphill. Tricky little part coming out of the harbor here. That's going to be really my only uphill, except for going in the machine center from the city. Now you can sit here, you use the X key to sit down, you can look out and do all your stuff. From here, again, I'm a remote person, but the remote doesn't charge inside the window. I'll spend a lot of time on the front of this engine, but I'll put a lot of throttle here. So I am 15, 14, 13 minutes in. Remember, that was from the white one. So let's take a look at these. Where am I going to haul to? This is the machine. So C31 or C3 incoming. Should be an I. C4. So I got C4 and C3. So that's one of the main places. That's a little lucky, or not lucky, but when we got a map, let me just slow my speed down here. You do not want to derail. You should be able to do 40, but I don't want to do like 50 or so, right? Derail a car, it costs you money, and they unhook, and it's cost you time. You got to stop. City Southwest. Let's take a look at this job. So C3 incoming for 1 train, and then my longer one here, City Southwest, is C2. So C2 and C3. So what I can do, they're on the back of the train here, and so I can go by City Southwest, back it in, dump it in C2, detach it, turn the job in, hopefully get a bonus. So you got a pretty long construct out there. Lots of white cars. All right, so this is coming out of the harbor is a little tricky. You want to keep it at 40 or slightly under. There's a little bit of a valley coming up here, and then there's a hill climb. It's tougher when you're coming back. You know, you don't want to go too fast that you derail. You don't want to go too slow, or with the shunters at least, you can get stuck. And you got to deconstruct the train. It's a pain in the ass coming back. Going out, it's a hill climb. You'll see the hill climbing a bit here. I don't mind if it sinks. I'm going a little bit uphill here, so I don't mind if it sinks a little bit. The more train you get on this hill, the more it's going to drag down. But I should have enough power to go up the next portion around the corner. But this is a 40-mile area, or 40-kilometer area right in here, so it will want to derail on you on a tighter bend. Again, anything 50, 40, 30 speed limits, you want to watch out for those. I know we're going up to 40. We're 40 with a climb here, but it's mostly the bend I just passed. A little bit of this bend coming up too. Just have to watch for wheel slip. With the remote, you get a red light, but on this engine, it's kind of hard to hear it or see. It's not like the shunter where you're going to be red lighting all the time. If you go too slow or it's too heavy, yes, you can slip. We're going to the right here. This is standard. Going to the left is a long, long way. Slow speed, so we're going to the right. Again, I'm going to go up. You almost go to the steel mill on this one. That's one of the main towns in the center of the map. I'm going from lower right or southeast. City southwest is southwest or lower left, and then the machine factory's sort of upper left, mid to upper left. But these are good run to run. You know, I'm going to get 4 jobs here. Hopefully 75 plus 25 is 100. Plus I think the other one was 47 and 25, so somewhere in the 100 something range. If I could pick up that first bonus on the 49, that makes me 75, right, roughly. Let's get a little speed going here. It's getting a little low, so let me hit the speed. As long as, just remember you got a big train back there, and that train, portions of that train are still in the 40. If you go too fast, if you get up to 50, 60, the back of the train might still be in a 40 and derail on you. I just want to be extra cautious here. Means I won't make the time limits quite as much, but again, for purposes of this video and, you know, making 150 grand on this 1 hour is probably fine. I mean, after a little bit, there's no incentive for making money. I've got a lot of the licenses, so it's just more of a pleasure haul. But on the way up, you know, it's very important to be making money, because if you derail, you can lose money on a job, actually. So this is a 40 area. This curve coming up, and we're going to start to go uphill again. It's not as dramatic as a climb as the first section we had, but it is uphill. Eventually, at the end of this hill, you hit a 40. There'll be a 50 along the way. So I'll just be running 40 to 50 here. I'll try to keep the train going around this corner about 40 or so. Again, it's kind of hard to judge where the back of this is. You can go run to the back, but then it's a long train. Long, long train. No problem with 2 of them running. I'm burning double the diesel and double the maintenance, but I need it going uphill here. I'll consider whether I'll shut off. Yeah, this is the end of my train back there, so actually not as long as it could be. Another alternative, if you did have a lot of fancy stuff to do and the more expensive job was, or the city jobs were cheaper, you could attach like a shunter car. I mean, you can hope you get a shunter car or shunter train where you're going, but you could attach one at the harbor to the end of this, and then when you get to city, just attach the stuff that's going to city and the stuff, and then keep this train going on to the machine factory. And if that's where the bonus was, if it was a big discrepancy in dollars, you could keep running this one up. You'd definitely make your time there, and then you'd have to run manually using the F key back to the other city and then use that small shunter to drop off what you should have dropped off. But in this job, I got a nice, good paying job at City Southwest, so I'll just do them in order as they come off. Not try to make this extra complex, right? And divide cars and use extra engines. The engine would just be a tag along. You just, that's why I say use a shunter. It's a little lighter and it should still haul. Should still get it. The city is south. Most of these yards are, south, flat, right? They're flat. So you can usually move stuff around with the shunter. You just can't haul. Like the haul I'm going up would be a hell of a haul if I were doing 400 tons with 2 shunters. I mean, it'll make it. But if you run out of gas or you overheat, then you can, if you get too slow, it just takes forever. So this is a 40 zone right here. Again, I got a very long train. My switches should be set out. I'll have to take a look around the steel mill. That area is a little tricky too. But yep, going to the left, going through the tunnel, 70. It's still going uphill, but it's going to get flat pretty quick. Go ahead and jump off. We can get a look at the train, but I'm really going to see how far away I can get my speed up a little bit, because once these cars kind of clear this corner right here that I'm looking at, it's full on, right? I could send it up to, we could also talk a little bit better, right? I can probably go through the maps and stuff. Right now I want to keep focused on this train. I don't want to overspeed it. I don't want to derail it, any of that other stuff. Still got good signal. Yeah, I mean, if I gun it right now, then odds are those cars aren't going to get up to 40 in the section they're at. So let me just go jump on the train here. Of course, very unrealistic. You can run along the top of the train, but it's a game. We're good to go. So let me just throttle up. Again, we can do, it's 70. You can do 70, 80, somewhere around here. When you get up to the next switch, you don't have to do the switch. It's a merging switch, but you kind of want to be doing 60 at that point in time. I've had it derail, minor derailments, not big ones, but cost you time. Definitely not make a bonus then or be very close. Let's take a look at this. This job was going to C3. C2 was my bigger job. So I'm going to go 2 then 3. I'll probably have to do this a few times. I probably won't remember. Let's check my speed. Yeah, I'm up. I can kind of tell by the noise. I was up to a pretty good speed. Again, the speed limit should be good here, but put a little brake on, just get myself down to 70-ish or 75. 70 probably is better. It's going to sneak up on me. That's the problem when you start trying to do maps and stuff. It's taking up most of your screen. Let me go forward here. Overheating, generally not a problem on this locomotive either. See, it's 80 going up to 100 or so. So I'm fine. I'll take the brakes off. But like I said, doesn't quite go downhill. Let's take a look at the map here. So you can see where I am, and I'm blue there. We came out of the harbor. This was up, up, up. We're here. This is flat. This area right there is where I want to be 60. That's a 50 corner going downhill. Those areas going into City Southwest are in the 30s. And we're going to go up to the machine factory. Machine factory will be a climb. The rest of it's flat. A little bit downhill coming up after I get around these next two. Coming right into the steel mill, there's a downhill. Got to manage your speed there because it's going into a 50, but it's a 50 corner going fast. We'll see that coming up. So let me just put a little bit of brake here. Just get myself prepared for 60. I don't mind if I'm doing 58. Again, this is costing me precious minutes, but part of the challenge of the game if you want to make the bonus, right? If I was just hauling one construct, I'd be hauling along here. I think the train will react faster, et cetera, et cetera. Once you're not going to make the bonus, then it's just important that you don't derail, because derailing can cost you all that money, actually, here and there. So this is pretty standard route. I call it from the steel mill to the harbor or harbor to steel mill. It's like this little leg. You wouldn't really go too many other ways to the normal cities, right? So it's one of the limited parts. You can go visit the other tracks. Tracks look like tracks in this game. There are challenges to each little bit, climbs to each little bit, but generally the map goes uphill from south to north. All right, coming up on this switch, 58, perfect. It's exactly where I want to be. I don't mind being a little slow, just under 60 here. I think I've derailed even at 65 or something there. This is a trunky, funky little, you wouldn't think you would derail here, but just one of those things. It's like that 30-mile-an-hour corner coming into City Southwest, or just before it. You definitely want to be 30 or below. You don't want to be like 35. I've had stuff derail at that speed. So it's not quite downhill yet. We're going to come up on another merge point. I mean, it says it's downhill, but you're not going to really pick up speed too much until you get through this intersection. Then you will pick up speed. And like I said, you got to use your choices here. You can do 90, but forget that. You're going to have to brake right away. I really want to hit 50 starting the left-hand turn coming up, because that's a pretty steep 3-something on the downward. So let me just put some independent brake. Once I get going down this hill, I might need to add a couple things to train brake. The problem with the train brake is when you release it, it takes a while to run release, so it can overshoot, right? But it does slow the train down faster than its independent brake can. With the remote, makes it nice. You can just kind of judge. You're just looking for a constant speed based upon your particular downhill when you're managing these. Like I said, in the next game, they might do some brake fade or heating, and then you have to manage it a different way. But for me, let me put a little train brake on here because I'm coming up to the intersection. And I definitely want to be hitting close to 50. That's probably too much, but that's okay with me. Make my switch. I do have to switch it. So there we go. And I overshot a bit. Let me take a train brake off. It's 50 to the left, but the important part is if you can read the sign, it's 3-something, 3 downhill. This is fine, 45. It's going to pick up to 50. I might even need more independent brake or even some train brake. See how steep this one portion is with this long of a train. The more and more weight I get, because you can derail here, and you end up not quite in the lake, but you're going to go out. It could be a pretty bad derailment in this section here if you're doing 60. So I can't quite coast yet because I see my speed came up, but go ahead and give it a try. Yeah, it's coming up pretty quickly. I'm probably still in that area. I don't want to be. I got to put some brake on again. Shorter train, no problem. We'd be up to speed. Now, as soon as I get this guy around this corner, we're on flat land. I'm going to run through the farm. I'm going to run through the oil, or whatever they call it, Oil Central or something. Rarely use these places. And switches should be set for the center track. This one here seems like it would be a tricky corner, and there's a bunch of 50s around there. But you can generally do 60 here. For some reason, it looks tighter than it registers in the game. But as soon as I get going here, I want to really do like 65. That's not too bad of a number. So, yep, you just want to make sure your switches, don't ever change them. If you ever leave these towns, put the switches back on. They'll remember the switch position. It's the farm. '65 is good. You can just coast. You can do these with any of the trains, you know. Like I said, this is all just flat. You don't lose too much speed. But if you go faster, you have to use more brakes, right? When you get to the eventual other side of this next oil place here, there's that area where you have to get down to 30. Let's take a look again. 21. That's my big one. I say 21. 2I. C2. I know where that is. I think there's an A3 incoming that's underneath the hood. That one's a little harder to get to. So left and right. Yep, we're on center. Center track is always open here. Like I said, if you ever have to drop something off or you make a run here, make sure you get the switches. It's like every time I come to the steel mill, I need to slow down a bit because I might have left it in a bad state. What you don't want to be doing is going 65 and then have one of your switches bad and you can't make the switch in time and you gotta, even if you nail the train brakes, you're probably gonna hit something and cause a lot of money. Lose all your money on that job. All right, so coming up here, you know, it's kind of tricky. It says 70, it's gonna say 60 and a Y coming, but as soon as you get to the Y, it's 30. And it's not so much at the Y, but it's right after the Y. I'll show it to you. But trying to get a train of this size from 65 to 30, yeah, that's the Y up there. You got time, but you also don't want to put on a bunch of train brake and then have to wait for auto to release. It's going to cost you time, is what I'm saying. So I'll put heavy independent and I'll put a couple train brakes here. It's coming down to 50, you know, in the 40s, 40. Take a little train brake off. The independent's still going. Better to be safe here because this is my switch coming up here. And as soon as I hit the switch, you're going to see it's 30. And unfortunately, they don't tell you if it's a hard 30 or whatever it is, but I can tell you that I have derailed coming too hot into this one. It's flat. You're not going to gain speed, so 30 is good. If it runs down to 28 or so, you're good. Now, between here and city, so yeah, 2 and 3. 2, then 3. I got to try to remember that as I back these. You can't really pick up too much speed between this little junction area and the city because the bypass of the city is also 30. That's got a little more tolerance on it, but right here that I'm running through right now, there's no tolerance on that bend, not a lot. So it's good if I just keep the train all the way. I can give it a little throttle here. It's not going to pick up speed that drastically. I mean, I don't want to do 25 either. Uh, Not if I'm going to make a bonus. Go as slow as you want, like I said, if you're not going to make the bonus, but I also have this video. I don't want to be here for forever doing 15 kilometers an hour on some steep hill or something. 30's okay. I mean, maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but a lot of times it's like a 10 mile an hour or 10 kilometer an hour buffer. Again, this track here is 50, but let me just take a look ahead. That switch I never changed too much. So you can run higher on this one, but you're just gonna have to brake by the time you get close to here. So right, and then right, and there's your 30 right after it. So I am gonna go by, let me just take a look at these other switches Oh, back it up a bit. Yeah, that's going the wrong way from where I want to go. The C is this main terminal that's left there. Left, left and right, that's 2. So 1 over is 2. I'm going 2 and 3. So if I come in, that's going to go to 2. If I back this drain into there, that's going to go to 2. And then over here, I want to switch this. So yeah, I'll have to come back out and, detach it, turn in the job maybe, see if I get my bonus, see where I am in life. How are we doing? Meanwhile, I left the train just cruising along at 30, no real risk. And this is my bypass track at 30. If you don't have to drop something off at the city, you can skip this one too. Of course, the city, I'm not sure if they recouple as far as driving the engine in first, right? But this is not a through, this is a terminal track with a bypass track for this city. So you normally when you have a terminal track, you want to try to drive by it and back it in. With multiple constructs, you might want to drive it by something and back it in too. But I'm saying if it's a through city, you got room on the other side to pull straight into the track you want with the engine, and then space on the other side to drop it off or maneuver after. You might not always have space with you. If I go in face first on this one, right? If I didn't go around this loop right here, then there's no way I'd have space, and then I'd have my engines trapped. So you want to back it in. That's why I put the city at the end of the train. Anyways, you can do different methods if you wanted to. You should be able to get the locomotives out, but with this long of a train, you might not. It's a risk. So I'm going to hang out here. I'm going to switch this. Again, I'm just keeping it at 30. Probably either detach or once I get it in line. I got to kind of figure out where these constructs are. I mean, the white one is obvious, right? I get that first one. That first one is obvious. That's going to be of course, that's the last one I'm doing, so it doesn't really matter. But that break point, but some of these other break points, they all look the same to me. So I'm going to have to read some numbers or count. It can be a little hard to count. What do I got there? 288. Yeah, I was looking for a white one, I think. So 1, 2. Yeah, can't count it. All right, put the brakes on. Switch that one. The other one's good to go. Running out of range. I really should figure it out. So there's my 288, which is the white one. Oh, missed that. That's 288 right there, right? So let me get on that sucker and turn the brake off. I got it on forward already. I got all the switches set. Gonna have to have a little bit of faith. 1, 2, 3. I think it's 10 cars. Anyways, the car that I'm standing on is 288. That's at the end of the job. And as soon as I get this guy past 2 incoming, C2 incoming, right? 288 is the white car at the end. I mean, one of the two cars. It's either 3 or 288 is where I linked it together. So this happens to be 288 that I linked. You can go colors if you want, but it's best to check that nameplate. And let me keep an eye on the speed. 30 should be fine, but I eventually have to stop this sucker. So let me just put it on 2 bars. That's about where I'm going right now, or 1 bar even, or neutral, whatever. It's going to coast all the way in. There's no hill here. Yeah, so the A3 or A6, I think it's A3 is underneath that shelter right behind you. or right in front of us, right? You know, behind the train. All the C's are over here. The first lane on the right was the loading lane, so you know that's not going to be. If you ever do shunting here, you'll have to unload and load into that loading lane. But here, I'm just right in the yard, 2 and 3. I think my machine was when I go to the next town, they're right next to each other, but I can't. I can pull straight through on that one and then reverse the other one into the adjacent line. So yeah, I'm just going to get this by the sign for 2. Hopefully these trains fit. Usually on the freight jobs they fit. Occasionally on the shunting jobs they don't fit in the loader. On the once you get some long licenses, and then so it's like a bug in the game. You spend all this time shunting it, and you get over to the loader, and it doesn't fit, and it won't load like partial loads, right? So yeah, just brakes. Now I'm gonna go run. I mean that train is. I'm assuming is gonna stop. I'm gonna go run and turn this job in to the validator. There's my validator. Let's find the job. There it is on 2. And no good. What the heck? Fudge. Maybe it wasn't stopped. Let's go down the end here. Oh, I'm within the signs. Just barely. Within the signs. And 3. It'd be pretty wacky if they shoved a car in here. Or that got out of sorts. 255. That's too much. What am I doing? That's not. What am I doing? Apologies. Okay. That's going to be the next construction. This is 288. Yeah, there we go. Good to go. Let me unhook it. I don't think you need to decouple these, though. I think maybe it just wasn't stopped. All right, let's uncouple it. That was a waste of time. Where did I go? There you go. Sometimes those F's, you go one wrong move. So you gonna validate on me? There we go. 73.6. Good money. So 29 minutes. So 10 minutes up to the next place I could actually make. I gotta uncouple this other. I gotta move this other car and uncouple it. It's gonna be a tighter. If I hadn't wasted this time, I can go put it on. Put it in reverse and take the brake off and get going. I already decoupled, so we should be good. Oops. Just want to get over here. That's right. I'm missing. I need the next one. This guy right there. Okay. All right, I got to clear and switch, and I'm going to City Southwest 3, C3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, or yellows. Oh man, I wasn't paying attention. Dang it. I was going to waste time too. I mean, I had 44 minutes, I had 28 on the clock, so I'll definitely get a bonus on this one. I was just doing the 10-minute thing to get my gas all juiced up here. Turn the brake off. Oops. Yeah. Making errors. You make errors in this game, you start making errors like crazy. But I'm looking at white. 436. This is our last guy right here. So this guy's got to poke beyond the 3. C3. I mean, I can kind of watch it from here. But I know I got my things kind of set up. Turn my throttle off. Just want to keep my momentum going here, and even if I overshoot it a bit, I could probably break now, but yeah. If you end up short, you got to put more throttle on again. All right, we're good. Plenty good. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. All right, so I got to go right here. Once again, 436. And decouple. I got time because no problem on this one. Controls your crouch key. They show you how, if you haven't played this game before, they show you how to do that from the beginning. Let me put it in reverse. Give it a little throttle. Take the brake off. I don't want to give it too much throttle because, that's going to go 30 right there. That's okay because it's pointing out of town in case I screw this up somehow. I'll have to come back and remove stuff. I'll take a chance though. Validated. Bonus. So 53 something. All right. It's actually a pretty expensive job. 35 plus the bonus, 53. So I'm getting good money. 75 plus 50, I'm at 125 right now. Just quit now. What the heck? Jump on the train. I don't care about this one, but it's C4 up at the machine factory. C3 right next door. So, these are in the main C complex. So I just happen to know once I get up here, you go right at the turntable and then the first left. Then you're immediately on the C. I think there's only 4 lines in C. The left coming from the south is the loading line, and that's always open, so you can pass through that way. But this should be the 2 to the right. Let's look at the crane. That's the harbor. Machine, yeah, same thing. You come in from the south, you go right, left. That brings you to the C yard. And then from the south, yeah, the loading's on the left. That one is a shunting line. There's usually something on it, and the 2 to the right are clear. So I should just be able to pass through, just set my switches. Got a little too much speed going on here. You can go fast in this area. Now you will start climbing uphill a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to go 3 and then 4, 3 and then 4. So second from the right and then right. Or 1 to the right and then second to the right, whatever you want to call that, right? So I made good money there. 37 minutes I had. 37 minutes was when I completed that one. Let's see, got 52. 37 to 52. I got time. I might make the bonus on the 4. Might make the bonus on one of these 2. We come up on some switches here. I've never derailed at these switches, so they should be tolerant to 70 or whatever, but we are starting to climb pretty soon, at least when you hit the switch up here. I just want to keep an eye out, make sure this switch is a good way to go to the food factory as opposed to going up. It's a long climb if you take the northern circle around here. Fire up the throttle. I wasn't paying attention. I want to keep my speed up. $60 to 65. There's my switch going left. I'm going the right way. This is a pretty short shot. I've come the other way. I've come, when you have the simple little shunter, right? When you're doing jobs, you can go from Machine City down to City Southwest. I think I've done it's all downhill with braking, right? For the most part, I think I've done it in 8 minutes. So that's usually pretty good money early in the game if you can do that. Going up is a little bit harder, especially with a single shunter. But again, it's only like 6 minutes between these towns or something on this particular portion. I mean, most of the towns are 8 minutes or 15 minutes or something if you have to do 2 towns. All right, just double check the machine factory here. Yeah, 1 to the right, 3 and 4. 3 and 4, 3 and 4. Get my speed up again. You know, in this game, you just kind of give it full beams. It makes a lot more sense on the. Otherwise, you're just burning gas. Because once you get up to that speed, if you use throttle, it just keeps the speed. You're just burning gas. You can usually, especially on flat ground, you can kind of just take the throttle off, get your heat down if you're in the shunters. I got to use the train brake here. I'm definitely overshot this. That's what happens when you talk, because this switch is going to come up on me here. Put all full independent brake and try to get myself 40 or 30. I am heading towards the C already. That switches. I came out of here, I imagine, pulling out of C on an outgoing line or B or whatever, right? You know. I think a lot of stuff leaves from B and comes into C. You can tell just by the line designations. There was only a loading, a shunter, and a um, incomings. All right, so we're going left into C. I just keep my speed at 20 here. You know, really, it's 12. I can bump it up to the second bar. But right away, I got to look. These switches probably aren't set right. Yeah, they're set to go to the bypass line. I must have come through here. So right and left. All right, so that's going to send me into 3. Then up here, I really just got to jump off. No problemo. So I think I'm getting close on time. Like I said, you got to hustle to get all 4 of these bonused. And this, unfortunately, this 3 isn't. I don't remember what the price of this one was. I didn't really count on the bonus for either of these. Let me jump off. I'm waiting for the end of the train to get by this sign. Just take it easy. I mean, if I leave this long enough, it'll glide down to 12 there. C3I. Station isn't too far from here. I might stop the train, run, and see if I can get the bonus. It'd be a little cherry on top. What are those trains? Well, I got 2 cars. If you ever derail, you might leave a car behind. I didn't derail. And I think the last 2, maybe they just looked white in the shadows here. Yeah, these whites have the bars around them. And this guy here is actually not white. It's just silver. It looked white at a distance. All right, so I got to get this guy on the track. Hit the brakes. What am I doing? Yeah, it's uncouple. I don't know if I have time or not, but it doesn't take too long to uncouple. Send this guy forward more. Take the brakes off. Just send it a little bit forward. Get myself going forward. Or should I do both of them? I think I missed the time, so. Just do this in speed. Maybe taking the time to go to the station wouldn't get me both of these. Maybe I can get both of them is what I'm thinking. It's not going to cost me too much because that 4 job wasn't too much for a bonus. So what the heck? Just park this guy. some brakes. Boom. If you time that a little better, you can stop it better. So anyways, I hope you get the idea of running 4 jobs, 2 cities, heavy diesel. Give you an idea of some of the gameplay. I mean, there's other places to go, there's other jobs to take. So the challenge is to arrive, but this is the basic operation with, once you get into the game, kind of the way it works. You learn these yards a little bit. I didn't derail here, that would be a different episode or something, right? Takes about, like I said, it took about an hour. I think we're getting pretty close to an hour on this job. I mean, you can make a challenge of making these bonuses. You can make a challenge of dollars per hour, um, that type of stuff. I just want to get this by where I'm going. I also, I have manual service, but I don't need the manual service. Well, I'm not going to do it in this video. Just run and get these jobs, see what I get for a bonus. Good job. 47,000. All right. Have a good one. See ya.